Hello, welcome to Wish We Were Then. This is the podcast that's been doomed to repeat history so that you may learn from it. Also, the podcast that takes a look at the rise of one-hit wonders and the fall of once great nations. I remember that was a decent tagline. I kind of abandoned that one pretty quickly. Welcome to the show out there, folks. This is a podcast in which two good buddies go back into a time in the past through the magic of prayer. We pray about it. Yeah, we get sent back. Jesus finds it fitting to send us to the past, and we get to experience life as it was for people back then. And we go and watch TV, we listen to music, we check around the internet if it's there, if it's available to us in the time frame that we're in. And we did go back to a year that has it, so that's makes it a lot easier on us to compile a lot of this information. Less time spent in the library. And
and out on the streets asking people questions.
Just shaking people by the shoulders, going, "Sir, what day is it?"
Jumping little newspaper boys for their stuff. I mean, I've never done that, but you know.
No, of course not. No, we get sent back with a stipend with the per diem, and we were able to buy newspapers with that. But food, we're left up to our own devices. But enough of the logistics of the whole thing. Let's figure out what year we're about to jump into, shall we? Now, when Mark and I were sent back this week, we actually were set up with Timeless Tony, our benefactor, who's the actual one who's sending us back in time. Sorry, Jesus.
Not Jesus.
Yeah, Timeless Tony, he set us up with a meeting for right when we got back with the head of pop culture for a very major PR firm. And, we were supposed to go in there and talk with this suit. He was going to tell us all about the different plans he had for the year we were in and how it was going to, we were going to think it was so cool. I took one look at this guy and I said, this guy's a kook. This guy's a poser. I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this. But Mark was, he's much more business-minded than myself. So he took the meeting, and he actually rolled tape on the thing. So we have a little bit of a recording here. So thanks for doing that, Mark. Let's press play on that here. All right. Welcome. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I am the head of pop culture for a very major PR and marketing firm. And I just want to say, we love what you guys are doing over there. Wish we were there. It's a great show. Great show. I mean, the podcast that is doomed to tell you about history, and that is so smart. That is such a good tagline. So much better than that first one you guys had. We're in love with what you guys are doing. And if you don't mind me saying so, I can tell that you and your co-host, I'm speaking with Mark, correct?
Yeah. Trey doesn't even want to be here. He doesn't want to look at your face, but I'll do it.
Well, thank you for taking the meeting. I'm glad I got the name right. No one has to get fired today for giving me the wrong information. Anyway, let's go ahead and let me just tell you, first off, I love your guys' your whole thing, your whole shtick. I can tell you're a couple of radical dudes. When I see, you're wearing the Element shirt sometimes, and Trey likes to talk about his little tiny finger skateboards or whatever that's about. And, you guys are clearly a couple of extreme sportsmen. So we have a year that's going to be very, very exciting for you. We've got skateboarding up and down throughout this year. I just hope that's exciting to you guys as it is to us. Have you taken a look around? Have you noticed any of that going on this year?
Yeah. I mean, how could you not realize that Tony Hawk is sitting in the chair next to me? This is one of our best friends.
The Birdman.
You pretended like he wasn't even sitting here, alluding to him like he was a ghost.
I mean, he's I'm not familiar with his work myself, but I know you guys.
You called him the Birdman. You know who he is.
That was a guess. You said Hawk. Well, if you guys are excited about him, so are we. We've got a lot of great extreme sports things to just cram down everyone's throats this year because we figured out it's profitable to be interested in those kind of things. The guy, your little friend here, he can tell you a thing or two about profit from things like video games and stuff like that. Actually, he might have something to say a little later. But let me go ahead and fit you up with one of our brand new skateboards here. It's got your name right on there. Wish we were there. And you guys are going to be out there shredding the gnar all year long this year in 2007.
Yay!
Well, thanks for recording that, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know why we all started cheering at the end. I don't know.
That was cool, though, to hear Tony Hawk cheering. That's he didn't make any noise the rest of the time, but one of those cheers was definitely his.
Well, he's got to be there to, help us out. One of our boys.
Yeah, he kept us safe out there. He taught us, how to drop in properly so we didn't fall down and hurt ourselves. Yeah, it's fun. When I was in the year 2007, I was 15. How about you? Good portion of that year.
Depending, I guess, on
me too.
the month.
About half of the year, I was 15. The other half, I was 14. But I was the whole time. If I was, the only time I was able to dip into any of the pop culture stuff we're going to be talking about today was when I wasn't outside skateboarding. I spent so much time on my board at that time in my life.
I spent a lot of time skateboarding, even though we weren't hanging out together. I think skateboarding in general was super popular among our age group, and even a little bit before that. I think skateboarding started to really change during the 90s, and then by the time this year rolls around, I don't know if you said the year already, but by the time this year rolls around,
yeah, we did.
2007. Oh yeah, 2007 rolls around. It's blossoming into something different.
Yeah, I think when in the 90s and stuff, we had just the first wave of Tony Hawk Pro Skater video games that really got a lot of kids into it. The X Games were just starting out, and the whole 900 thing.
Yeah.
And tech decks were really big. I remember I had a bunch of Birdhouse and Flip folders,
Oh yeah.
A bunch of the decks on the back and stuff.
Spitfire.
Yeah,
that was big
really
at the time.
huge. So yeah, by this time it was huge, and it was cool that it was, like I said, it just happened to coincide with our perfect age for going out there and doing it all day long,
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we get too far into all the sports stuff and skateboarding and all that, here at Wish We Were There, or whatever that guy said. Here at Wish We Were Then, we try in the top to get through some of the bummer news that happens, the actual news, I guess you can call it, that happens in each year. I got a bummer one right off the top. So on January 2nd, the FBI disclosed that they had identified witnesses to alleged abuse at Guantanamo Bay.
Oh.
There was a lot of information about this, but what I can boil it down to is originally when the program had started, they had taken detainees, quote-unquote terrorists from Afghanistan, and brought them to Guantanamo Bay in 2002, and then there was never a trial and they were never charged with anything. So that's kind of what kicked this off, but then as more information started to come out, it turns out that there was abuse of the prisoners that were there, even deprivation of sleep for some of them. They would destroy religious belongings, and they were just treated really badly. So this all started to unfold right on the beginning of the year.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that was this year. It's crazy that how people respond, and especially back then. I mean, I don't think the response would be the same now, but the fact that you had a lot of comedy stuff referencing that. Harold and Kumar 2 came out in 2008.
Oh shit, I remember that. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
I think that's something that, that kind of used to be, I guess it's how society's temperament has changed and stuff, but comedians used to be the ones who would poke fun at things that were serious issues and call attention to it. And then there was, in the last 15 years or so, it's that's insensitive. And I mean, yeah, it's insensitive, but the thing that's going on is fucked up. That's what we're trying to get you to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't think we should stop talking about this kind of stuff just because it hurts people's feelings or whatever, or it's offensive to somebody. It sucks, but we have to have hard conversations to make sure that things like this don't continue to happen, because there was a lot there was the waterboarding thing was a part of this. Just the CIA torture program. This didn't happen this year, but this was involved in all of this. So it's a lot. We can't stop talking about it because then the CIA gets to do whatever the fuck they want. And that's not cool.
Yeah. It's just, it's interesting that our attitudes towards, like I said, that comedy and everything. I feel like the first time I really remember seeing it in real time was, did you ever see the movie Jojo Rabbit?
No, I don't think so.
It's a movie about Hitler, but it's it's a Hitler youth. And in Nazi Germany, he's a Hitler youth. And his best friend is an imaginary Adolf Hitler. It's very funny. It's a really good movie. It's really, really good. And a lot of people when it came out was like, you can't be making light of Hitler and trying to make this a silly thing and all that. And it's like, that's the point of it, is to like not only, bring this stuff down and go, does not deserve respect and stuff like that. Hitler doesn't deserve respect.
Like making fun of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but also just going like, this is something that's accessible, and then your mind starts moving on. And you're like, actually, this is pretty fucked up. And it's like, yeah, thank you. That's what I was trying to say by doing the movie. I wasn't going, actually, Nazi Germany's not that bad. I'm saying it's fucked up. Take a look at this, and then your mind starts moving, and that's what makes you think about it. And I mean, even Harold and Kumar, for how simple and juvenile the comedy is in those movies, it still is like, I'm sure that they're smart guys. They looked at it and they said, okay, this is fucked up. How do we get more people to know about this? Well, people saw our first movie where we were smoking weed and eating hamburgers, so let's make our second one about Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, but I think that's part of almost like the job of comedians is to like not have a political point about things, but also be able to like say when stuff is funny and ridiculous, and that's not a lot of people can do it. That's why not a lot of people can be comedians.
Yeah, it's a fine line. And I guess that is part of it too, is the people who then just take it the next step farther and just go, I'm just saying something offensive. Isn't that funny? It's like, no, that's not the end game either. You have that as some sort of a salient point.
Like you said, a fine line.
Yeah. On April 16th, the Virginia Tech massacre occurred. This is where student Sung Hui Cho killed 32 people and wounded 17 others. It's the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history. I mean, it had been the deadliest mass shooting event up until that point. We've surpassed that now, but at the time, this was the biggest such incident that had ever occurred. Yeah, 32 people. That's so many people.
It's fucking crazy.
6 more people were injured jumping from windows to escape him as well. Did you look into this at all?
I read about it, but no, I didn't do any like real research on it.
Well, just a quick, I just kind of heard about it. I knew sort of, that this had occurred, but I looked into the timeline of it, and it was pretty interesting, I guess, is one word to use. First, he shot 2 people and killed them in the dorm room, or, the hall or whatever. It wasn't his residence hall, but that's like where his mailbox was, so he had a key to get in. And then he went in and shot 2 people and then left. And then 2 hours later is when he actually went into the classroom buildings and then killed the rest of the people that he would shoot. But in the middle section there, in those 2 hours, he actually went over to the post office and mailed his manifesto and some photographs and video to NBC. So, yeah, that's crazy. He got his word out there in the middle of the shooting. I think it's just so wild that they weren't able to catch this guy in the 2 hours that they had,
That's insane, yeah.
And part of his manifesto said, quote, "You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option. You just loved to crucify me. You loved inducing cancer in my head, terror in my heart, and ripping my soul all this time." So, obviously, just a very troubled individual.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
Very sad, very tragic.
Mm-hmm. And, his mental health was very much talked about in the trials and stuff like that. And why was this guy able to get a gun? He had a lot of issues leading up to this. This wasn't just kind of out of the blue, and it wasn't sort of even something that was like, oh yeah, he had been on depression medication or something like that. Like he had been sentenced to some outpatient treatment, and I guess the big thing was that it wasn't inpatient, and that's what would have barred him from being able to, I guess, buy a gun. But because it was just outpatient or whatever, it wasn't enough to flag anything. So, but regardless, it's just definitely a big old stain on our country's memory to have to deal with this sort of stuff, and it just becomes more prevalent as the time goes on.
Yeah. Still something they can't figure out 18 years later. If they want to, like, the background checks and stuff would be so simple for stuff like that. Yeah, super sad. All right, well, I got something a little lighter. On January 4th, Nancy Pelosi was sworn in as the first female Speaker of the House of Representatives. And she was also the first time a female would hold the third position to the presidency, because if anything happens to both the vice president and the president, the Speaker becomes the leader, the commander-in-chief. So yeah, so it was a win for her.
Has that ever happened?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. They don't. I mean, the president and vice president, I'm sure, have to follow the same rules as the Coca-Cola guys, right? They can't fly together.
Probably because there's Air Force One and there's Air Force Two.
Is there
So I
really?
think-
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that
That's
they specifically do that on purpose, so they're not.
Yeah, that's funny. Air Force One, I've always heard of my whole life. I didn't know there was Air Force Two. You think they would have a different name for it, but it makes sense, I guess. It just seems kind of stupid. Air Force
But
B.
it's not clever.
Yeah,
Air Force One and Air Force A.
yeah, that would have been a good idea.
I got one more like news-worthy thing. On March 9th, 2007, the FBI Patriot Act audit reveals illegal practices. So in 2001, after 9/11, they introduced the Patriot Act, which gave the ability for the CIA and the FBI to basically watch American citizens. Super
Patriotic.
yeah, exactly. Right there in the name, Trey. Come on. So they started doing an audit of this at this time, and it turned out that they were seizing these letters, these national security letters, which are basically, in layman's terms, like subpoenas, but they're subpoenas that the FBI and the DOJ and like 5 different federal statuses can actually request for certain business records and things like that. Well, it went from 8,000 before 9/11. Basically, in total, throughout the entire time people have been running businesses in the United States, 8,000. And from 9/11 to 2007, it was 150,000 letters
Jeez.
were sent. So
Wow.
they were just exploiting the American people, basically, and the corporations and all of that stuff without any checks or balances, and that's not the way our government is set up. So the government is starting to not look favorable in 2007. A lot of distrust happening. The hype of, it's fucked up to say it that way, but the hype of 9/11. Because it really patriotized America after 9/11. I remember driving around, everybody had American flags. Everybody was just super patriotic. And I think this is where that cookie starts to crumble.
Yeah, the sheen's wearing off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that really does galvanize a nation whenever there's some kind of terrible tragedy. And I think as time goes on and you have more information that just is coming out, the government's not able to use that stuff as much as they used to
Well, if
ride
they
the
weren't
goodwill.
torturing people and spying on the American people, I
Yeah.
don't think they would have. That's not a big thing to ask. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, let's move on here. This is some good news from the government, actually. One time that they used some power to do something kind of nice for the people here. We're going to jump into the food, and I don't have any fun food releases, actually, or any fun restaurants that came out, but the FDA did something that actually I remember being a big deal at the time, and it wasn't until I started looking into it that I was like, oh, shit, yeah, you remember this? The trans fats big debacle. Everybody all worried about trans fats in 2007. And in 2006, the FDA had required that trans fats be labeled. They would be listed on all the food labels. So you had to tell people this has this much trans fat. People started to get really worried about it because basically what it is that these trans fats turn from liquid into a solid when in your body. So they're like a huge contributor to not just obesity, but also to heart disease and all these other things, coronary issues, that you're just caking yourself up with all this fat as it solidifies. The big culprit was partially hydrogenated oils, PHOs. I remember that term being really a big buzzword in 2007. And in July of this year, New York City would actually ban PHOs from being used.
okay.
And so this started the ball rolling on getting trans fats eliminated from fast food and just trying to get people healthier and stuff like that. It wasn't until 2015 that the FDA officially designated PHOs as what's known as not generally recognized as safe. GRAS.
That's crazy. It took so long.
Yeah. So
Like,
that was in
that's
2015.
That's a stupid part of our government is the dumbass bureaucracy that they have. It's like, well, nope, we can't do something for 8 years, so you guys are going to have to fucking die until then.
Well, get a load of this. It would not be. They issued a final rule actually banning PHOs on December 22nd of 2023. So they just got around to fully banning. They were listed as not generally recognized as safe. You can't even just say unsafe. You have to be like, this is not generally recognized as safe. It might be, you know. Some people might recognize it as safe or whatever. So it takes a long time for these things to be.
It's so ridiculous that it does.
Yeah.
Because now they're banning all of this stuff in our foods, and it's just like eliminated in like 6 months. Mm-hmm. All of good value food that comes through Walmart will no longer have any of the dyes that it did. So it doesn't take fucking 13, 14, 15 years to do this. Yeah. But in reality, they will tell you that it does. Because that's just the way the dumbass bureaucracy works of our government.
Right. I mean, this is something that had been so in... I mean, at the fast food people, a lot of them were working to try to eliminate them at this point because of the fact that, you know, Super Size Me had come out a few years ago at this point and kind of let everybody know that they were scared of fast food. And then the trans fats, you know, being required to be listed in 2006. Like, there was a lot of this social pressure on the companies to start removing these things prior to the FDA getting involved. So it was like people are telling McDonald's, oh, I'm not going to keep eating your French fries if they're cooked in this nasty oil, right? So McDonald's has to make some sort of change to it. And that's like the capitalism, the free market way that they want it to work out. You know, they want to be like, well, you're allowed to eat partially hydrogenated oils if you want to. That's your right as an American citizen. It's just that, like, people don't have, I don't know, it's a hard place to come at that, you know? I mean, how do you...
I think there's a balance. I think that's just part of kind of what I talked about earlier. There has to be checks and balances. Corporations cannot do whatever they want, and they cannot feed you fucking mercury because it's their right. Yeah. And at the same time, the government has an obligation to look after these companies, but also say, you know what? Yeah, if you guys want to eat hydrogenated oil, you can. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But like I said, there has to be a check and a balance. Corporations can't do whatever they want, and the government can't take 15 years to change something because they feel like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got a couple of food things in my journeys of 2007.
Oh, good.
Went to go get a Big Mac, and it was $3.41.
Are you fucking kidding? Damn.
Wasn't
what
joking.
Happened in such a short amount of time?
And one of the specials that came out, I watched a commercial for it, and it was hilarious. There's people talking and like flames just shooting out of their mouth, like at a dinner table. It was the
Dairy Queen, right?
The Dairy Queen flamethrower chicken sandwich and hamburger.
It's a very funny commercial. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a bunch of people sitting, and he's like, "What is it? Like, you can't open your mouth because if you do, flames will shoot out." Oh, they're breathing in. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they had to breathe in when they were talking.
That's pretty funny. And yeah, just the end of it where they're all screaming is like, was burned into my memory when I saw it again. I was like, oh man, it's so weird how commercials will just fly away from your brain and then shoot back into your memory. Especially at the time when there wasn't really alternatives to watching TV still in 2007. You know, so
you had to watch commercials. To be honest, I've been watching things with commercials now because I'm having to watch all these movies and stuff, and I don't like pay for all the streaming services. And I kind of like the commercials now. It's like I can get up and go to the bathroom and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like feel like I'm stuck here binge watching 9 hours of an episode.
Yeah. Let's move on to technology. I've never said that word like that. Technology. On January 9th, this is a big old deal for the year. The iPhone is announced. The very first iPhone was announced on January 9th of this year. Big step forward in smartphones. Really the first modern smartphone.
Yeah, it was the first smartphone, really, because it was the first thing to actually come with a touchscreen, a 2-megapixel camera, an iPod, and a web browser. So it was actually the first thing to really become. The
touchscreen is like a really big aspect to it being what we come to know as smartphones and everything now. That wasn't really an option before that. Because like Blackberries and Palm Pilots were around. Those were kind of, I think that's what people used to refer to as smartphones, was just a phone that's like, it can connect to the internet. You get your email on here. And I kind of had forgotten how revolutionary the first iPhone was.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't really do a whole lot to change them around year to year now. And I'm sort of over them and like, they're so expensive. And it's just like they come out with a new one every year that's not that much different. Just buy a different type of phone. But at the time, it was like, oh, shit, that's what phones are like now,
Yeah.
Pretty sure I still had a flip phone at this point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And if I did... No, I don't think I even had a phone at this point in 2007.
I think I did. I remember having a Motorola with like the little antenna that pulled out to get a better signal on there. They actually went on sale on June 29th. It was $499 for a 4 gigabyte version and $599 for the 8 gigabyte version. So pretty small in terms of their storage space compared to what we got now. Had a 3.5-inch display and it utilized a 2.5G network. So it wasn't actually fully on 3G. Yeah. I think it's so weird that they've just made up a half a G for this thing or whatever. You also needed to have a 2-year contract that you could only get through AT&T. That was the only way to have an iPhone. I forgot about that aspect as well because
I didn't think I know that.
Yeah, I had Verizon at the time. So it was like, I'm not even going to worry about that. My family had Verizon. I didn't have anything. I was a child. My family was on Verizon, so I was like, I can't get an iPhone even if I wanted to, so I'm not even going to concern myself with that. They were the 4th best seller of the year. So they didn't shoot all the way up to the top like I kind of thought they must have.
Still BlackBerry and stuff. Well, now you had other companies selling those things and just one company selling iPhones.
Yeah, and I think it just took a little bit for everyone to catch on and go, that's what we all want to have on our phones. The number 1 phone of the year was the Razr.
Oh, fuck, I remember that.
Super cool. Number 2 was a chocolate, which my sister had one of those, and those were really cool too. It like slid up.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Like,
my mom had one of those.
Yeah, the front was like an MP3 player. It had like a, skip buttons and play and stuff like that. So you could, that was an iPod sort of style thing. And then the number 3 was the LG VX8300. Isn't that exciting? Like the first 2, I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, my God, the Razr and the chocolate. Well, that makes sense. Of course those outsold the iPhone. Those were amazing. But I'm looking up just to see what this thing looks like. I forgot. VX8300. All right, so I'm actually just going to pull up right now a picture of this thing. Can you see it? Oh, this is in front.
It seems pretty generic, like flip phone.
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know who I knew who had it, but like this little camera right here, that is very familiar to me. And then
it's
it
like
also has
front-facing camera, maybe.
It could be, and it's got this, got the play button and the pause and rewind things on the front of it.
Yeah.
So everything was, inching towards it. We just at the time we still had MP3 players.
Yeah. They sold 6 million units in 1 year until it was discontinued. Every year after that, they just came out with a new phone.
Yeah, I can't believe how short-lived this first one was.
Yeah. On September 7th, 2007, it came out in Europe, in UK, France, and Germany.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's like, I guess at the time, it felt like, oh, man, they're already able to come out with a cooler one, like.
Yeah, people were excited for the newer one, for sure.
But then, I don't know how when that turn happens, you're like, are they really coming out with another one? Man, fuck these guys. They're just greedy sons of bitches coming out with one.
Now it is. But back then, they were like, actually, it had more gigabytes, and I'm sure the camera was better. And now it's just like everything's fucking same.
I'm sure also it used 3G. That was a big, like...
Oh, yeah. That's a 2008 topic. Let's deal with that.
Right, yeah. I read some of the reviews of the phone, and they were saying, like, it's amazing, it's incredible. And then the other half were like, it's really cool, but you can't even get on 3G. Like, there's a lot of drawbacks to this phone, like a lot of the reviewers were saying. So I don't know if it was something... That kind of makes me think that they just rushed it out to get it out, probably to beat some other smartphone or something like that. Because, like, why wouldn't you utilize the most capable network that you had, And the fact that they had another one ready in a year. It's like they probably were working on that second one. They were like, this is going to be out in a year. We better release one now so that way we can capture the market,
Yeah, for sure. I got two just little quick ones. On February 19th, Tumblr launched.
Yeah, that's exciting. You ever use Tumblr?
I think I made an account but never really used it. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
out
I've
there in
been
the
on
ether
there once or
somewhere.
twice, but it's not. I've never had an account, I don't think. But it used to be like the best place to get memes. You know, like text-based memes and stuff like that was really good off of Tumblr.
I think until Twitter came out
Yeah.
was the popular one, or even Instagram.
My last little tech thing here is on. This one's also pretty important for the future. August 23rd, blogger Chris Messina tweeted out, quote, "How do you feel about using," and then in parentheses he put pound, but he put the hashtag symbol, "for groups. How do you feel about using hashtag pound for groups, as in hashtag barcamp," and then message is what he wrote afterwards. So basically what he was proposing was to all of Twitter, because it was still pretty small at this point, he was just saying, what do you guys think if we use this symbol to group together all the messages that we send about a certain topic? So he invented hashtags right here. So this was the first time I was like, from now on, if you want to learn about Barcamp, I don't know what that is, but that was his example. You would use hashtag Barcamp and it would pull up all of the messages that had to do with whatever the fuck Barcamp is.
I kind of want to go to bar camp.
That sounds cool, actually, yeah. The first published use of the term hashtag, so he just said, how do we feel about using the pound symbol to do this? The first time the term hashtag was used was in a blog post on April 26th. So just 3 days later, a blog post was titled "Hashtags Equal Twitter Groupings" by Stowe Boyd was the man's name. So he actually, started calling them hashtags just a few days later. So pretty quickly came around. In terms of video games, well, actually, I'll say on January 30th, Windows Vista was released, the operating system. That was a pretty big deal. And
Yeah.
I remember everyone complaining about it because it asked you constantly for permission to do anything. And we had it on our computer at home, and it was like, it wasn't that bad as people said. But I know some people who were like, yeah, I can't do anything on my computer without a dialog box popping up and going, are you sure you want to do this? Like, it just was this new feature, and it was a little trigger happy, I guess, early on. But let's see. Let's jump into video games. One of the games you might be playing on your Windows Vista is Peggle. Did you ever play that game?
No, I don't think so.
It was like a bunch of little dots on the screen, pegs, if you will, that were different colors. And then at the top, you shot a little marble thing into it, and you'd have to bounce off all the pegs on the way down and land in a bucket at the bottom. And it was pretty popular at the time, and I loved that game. I used to play it so much. I remember my sister playing it. And
I do remember this game. Never played it, but I remember seeing it.
well, here's some other video games. Halo 3, BioShock, Super Mario Galaxy. I've never played it, but I've seen it being played, and it looks fucking sick. With all the
It is a
round planets and
super
stuff.
sick game. I've played it before. Never played it all the way through, but I've played it before.
I got on it once, probably at Target or something like that when I saw a demo for it, and it was very disorienting just to jump in for 1 second and try to figure out how to run around these planets and stuff.
You literally run around the planet. You're running in like an
small.
actual, around an actual orb.
Yeah, it's super weird. Like the geography of trying to figure out how the stick moves you and stuff is cool. The first Assassin's Creed came out.
Such a good fucking game. That's probably the one I played the most out of this year.
Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, so the first of the Uncharted series. Those games are fucking sick. That one was incredible. Mass Effect. I've never played it, but I know that's a really popular one.
Mm-hmm.
The first The Witcher. That's gone on to create a television series and a bunch of games. The Orange Box was released on Steam, which included both Portal and Team Fortress 2. Those were humongous as well. Portal's so cool. Motorstorm, the first Rock Band, God of War 2, also Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, which, I don't know if the game was any good at all, but it was the first time Mario and Sonic ever appeared in a licensed video game together.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think I've ever played it. I remember it coming out.
But two that I saved for last for their importance in my life. First off, Tony Hawk's Proving Grounds came out. It was the new Tony Hawk game. Wasn't very good. Didn't really do that well because they were directly competing with the first game in the series, Skate.
Oh shit, that came out this year?
Yeah, that's
didn't realize how long ago that game came out.
Right? That game is probably the one I've played the most out of any video game in my life. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours playing Skate.
I remember before Skate coming out thinking like, man, I can't wait till they make a game where you can like ollie up curbs and like actually be able to skate. And then this game came out.
I remember it being announced. I was so into the Tony Hawk games that I was like, that's not going to be cool. Like, you know, they were like, it's going to be a realistic thing. You're going to have to like really, you know, perform the tricks. I was like, this might be kind of cool. And then it came out and I was like, this game is so much sicker than the Tony Hawk games. I mean, the early Tony Hawk games were fantastic, but at this point they started to get not great. This was focused more in on actual skateboarding, which I was huge into at the time. So,
well, the Tony Hawk games became like more and more like grandiose. It just became like, let's do crazy stuff where you're jumping off of buildings and you're jumping through helicopters and like all this crazy stuff,
riding go-karts and spraying spray paint. Like it's further and further away.
So I think Skate, going back to, let's just go back to the fundamentals where you have to ollie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what was cool about it. Was the fundamentals of it were crazy. The fact they used both joysticks to control your feet, and it was kind of disorienting, to be honest. First playing it, especially after being like, you can't just press X. The fuck?
Yeah.
You know, but revolutionary game for sure.
I love it so much. I haven't played the new one because I don't have a PS5. I know it's free to play, and I'm like, God, I wish it's free to play if you have the fucking money to buy yourself a PlayStation or an Xbox, I guess.
I do have one. I might have to try it.
All right, shall we move on to I got a quick toy story. Yeah. This year was designated by some as the year of the recall. This was also something that jogged my memory when I read about it. In the US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and Western Europe, they imposed recalls and import bans against products manufactured in the People's Republic of China, because there were a bunch of toys coming through from companies like Mattel, Fisher-Price, as well as a company that made some Curious George dolls, and another one that made Thomas and Friends wooden trains. All of these and many more products contained lead paint.
I do remember this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a big scare for parents, and so they started taking back all this stuff off the shelves and not allowed to import more things. It affected a couple other industries, but mostly it was confined to the toys.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I do remember that. Because, I mean, that's not something that we had to deal with. They stopped using lead paint in America in, like, the 70s.
Yeah.
So by the time we were around, none of the houses were paint that way. None of the cars were painted that way. Like, it was pretty much officially banned unless you bought an old house.
Yeah, so then it just kind of randomly cropped back up.
Yeah, it makes sense that it would be come from a country like China that doesn't have, like, the regulations that we do.
Yeah, obviously. And, you know, also just shows, like, what happens when you are outsourcing all of your goods production to another country.
Yep.
That you don't have any say in how they do it. And then, you know, how could you do this?
And then you wonder why your population is being poisoned.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got one book thing. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows book came out this year.
Oh, okay.
I read it pretty much when it came out because I just read it after my sister. It was her book.
Okay.
But, yeah, one of the few Harry Potter books I read.
I was just going to say, I wonder how it was for people who had been reading through the books as they came out. Like, if you loved the first one, and then the movies come out, and then they're out for such a long time, and they're, like, coming out with the books as the movies are happening and stuff. Like, does that then, now you have to reconcile the vision in your head of how you thought up Harry Potter and the rest of the characters to the actors playing them?
Yeah.
And how weird
100%.
that must have been?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's why there's a huge generation of people that like the movies so much, because that's what was prevalent. Because by the time the movies were ending, all of the books were already out. So it's kind of like, if you were like 8 at this point, you've probably watched the movies but haven't read the books.
Yeah.
So you never really went back to read them.
I'm reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy right now, and I mean, that you would have had 20 years to be able to have your own version of it before the movie came out. But because I saw the movie first, it's hard for me to not picture, you know, Mos Def as Ford Prefect, even though that's not how he's described at all in the book.
Yeah.
You know? So I have to, like, come up with a new character in my mind and just invent a human from whole cloth and be like, stay out of here, Mos Def. You know, it's most definitely not you. a couple of books of the comic variety came out this year that were worth mentioning really quickly. The Umbrella Academy came out, spawned that Netflix show. It's pretty cool. I've never read the book, though. And then World War Hulk also came out, which is the basic inspiration of Thor Ragnarok, or a lot of that. Him being on a battle world of, just having to...
Okay, with the Hulk?
Yeah. That Hulk gets sent into space, and then he lands on some planet, and he's got to fight a bunch of crazy creatures. Those are both, pretty cool books that, like I said, this era of comic book writing is influencing the movies that are coming out in the future. So it's not all they're getting more stuff to pull from. They're not having to go back to the 60s for all of their storylines,
Yeah.
It's funny that you would do that with Hulk, somebody who's had a couple movies, but he's not that well known, versus like Spider-Man, where you're like, we get it, fucking
Yeah.
Uncle Ben dies. We can move past that. All right, that's it for book stuff.
Yeah. We're going to move on to sports.
Sports. Let's do it. One thing I'll point out here is that Tim Tebow won the Heisman as a sophomore this year.
Crazy.
Very impressive. Fucking
Very
young
impressive.
dude.
First person to ever do it, the last person to do it thus far.
Oh, really? The only person in history to win as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And just had such a disappointing run, man. I didn't like the guy, but that's because he won a lot of games, He fucking threw super ugly. He was not fun to watch, but he scrambled too much and different things, but he came out with a lot of output right away and then just faded away and just started playing worse and worse.
So his achievements of this sophomore year to win it: over 3,200 passing yards, almost 900 rushing yards as a quarterback, by the way.
That's nuts.
And 32 touchdown passes and 23 rushing touchdowns in 1 year.
Damn, that's crazy. 23 rushing touchdowns. Damn.
Killed it. 23 rushing, that would be good for a running back.
Yeah, what is it, dude? That's like he's throwing and scoring a touchdown at least twice per game.
Yep.
Fucking
I don't know how many
insane.
games colleges play, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and he had to been throwing like 200 yards a game too. Damn. That's so wild. And like I said, there was a lot of quarterbacks from around this time that were like super impressive in college and then just fizzled out when they hit the pros.
Yeah, it's a different beast.
It is, for sure. I don't know if maybe there was just more eyes on the college teams at this point, so it was like, wow, look at this guy. He plays crazy. And then you get to the NFL, and it's like, yeah, you can't sustain that level of playing because the guys who are hitting you aren't college guys anymore.
Yeah.
They're not kids right out of high school. These are fucking huge men.
Well, yeah, and it's a mental game, too, right? Like, now you're the big boys. Now you're in the big league, so it's not just like, oh, let's go have fun and walk all over people.
Yeah, and they take a season to figure you out.
Yeah, now I'm nervous. Now I need there's, whole different ball game, literally.
It was like RG3 and Johnny Football and Andrew Luck and all these dudes around this era that were like, they all just fucking were supposed to be the next huge thing. Like, that guy's name was Johnny fucking Football, for Christ's sake, and he disappeared. I got a little bit more on the sports tip. It's all has to do with the extreme world of skateboarding. The skateboarding site The Barracks was launched in 2007.
Oh, shit.
Man, I spent every single day on that website for a number of years. I would check and see, did I miss any videos today? It was so much fun back in the day. Like the different Battle Commander and Buttery Ass Mondays and Trickopedia and all the different stuff I would just check out every week was so fun, man. Great time to be into skateboarding, and I'm getting it out to people, and just like, this was a really cool thing back then to just be able to like, here, this is what the pros are up to every day. They come over to our place and just rip it up. You can check it out. And yeah, it was really, really neat to have. It's kind of fallen off in recent years, and Bear is a Scientologist, so I'm not crazy about keeping up with the Barracks anymore, but it was
They're
really neat back then.
Scientologists?
Steve Barra is.
Oh, okay.
And also, let me just say these skate videos that came out because I saw all of them and loved them all. Just read through these real fast and let me know if you've seen any of these. Well, number one, Fully Flared. Maybe, it's one of the top 5 best videos of all time. Definitely the best from the era. It's such an incredible video. And I still see like the opening credits scenes on being reposted a lot on Instagram and TikTok where they're jumping over the exploding stuff,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really cool. He also had Foundations, Cataclysmic Abyss, Birdhouse is the Beginning, This Is My Element by Element, Inhabitants by Habitat, Crux is Feeling It, Nothing But the Truth by Nike, Black and White by Mystery, and Volcom's Let's Live, among a bunch of other ones that I just didn't write down because there were too many. It was just, I was watching a different video every day back then.
I was like, well, the skateboarding videos at this time were super popular. I don't even think that they're popular like they were now, considering we have, all the social media and stuff that everybody's addicted to all the time.
No, it's killed the skate video because now people just post clips every day. You know, they just, whenever they do something, they show everybody, and it's like, whoa, cool! Did you see so and so did this thing? Yeah. All right.
The next day, some other guy does something cool, and then they forget about the first one.
Yeah, 100%. And back then, these videos are all 35, 40 minutes. Fully Flared's like an hour plus, and they put so much time and effort into these things. People kept their tricks under wraps for years sometimes before they would let them get out to the public, and they just put effort into this stuff. And it was really, like I said, a great time to be into this stuff. And they were also coming out on DVD. That's the other thing. I had a bunch of these on DVD, so it's like they were making money off the sales, and I could just sit there and watch it whenever I felt like instead of having to hunt it down online, and hopefully it's still there or whatever.
A golden age of skateboarding. We didn't even know it. I got other sports records, I guess is a good way of putting it. January 9th, Phil Jackson won the 900th game as a head coach. He was a coach for the Lakers at the time. He was the 9th coach to reach 900, but he was the fastest to achieve it in 1,264 games.
Fucking amazing record, dude.
Dude, crazy. So he went 900 and 364.
Jeez.
That's crazy
super
record.
Impressive. What a coach.
Yeah, right. Well, he had players to help him do that. Some good people behind him. Alex Rodriguez, moving to baseball, hit his 500th home run, making him the youngest person to do it at age 32, and that record still stands today.
That's a young guy, too, now that I'm older than that.
Yeah, for sure. He started young, though. I think I'm not sure when he started, but Barry Bonds would hit his 756th home run, beating Hank Aaron's longest standing record.
Asterisk, right?
Yeah, so moving on from that, the MLB investigates steroid use. George Mitchell of Maine, a senator from Maine, put out 400 pages of the use of hormone growth and anabolic steroids. 89 players had used it. I don't think they actually took any records or anything from anybody, because I'm pretty sure Barry Bonds still holds this record.
Yeah.
I didn't actually look into it, but I'm pretty sure really nothing came of it.
I wonder if it was just too rampant. They were just like, all right, you guys got to stop. We can't get all of you in trouble at this point because we're going to lose 89 players. I'm assuming the best ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it was a bunch of bench riders that you're like, all right, we can do without these guys. It's like, we can't fucking fire Barry Bonds. So.
Yeah. But I remember it being huge. Mark McGwire. I mean, just like you said, some of the best hitting dingers out there on the roids. But I got to say, dude, did you see Barry Bonds when he first started? Speaking of players, when they start. He's 170 pounds soaking wet when he starts, dude. It's crazy when he comes out of college or whenever he starts. And then at this point, you absolutely could tell he's on steroids.
Where he's breaking the bats over his knee.
Yeah. Jacked. So jacked. It's crazy.
That's so crazy.
But with that being said, they didn't win the World Series. The Giants did not with Barry Bonds. World Series champions were the Boston Red Sox. The Super Bowl champions were the Indianapolis Colts. The NBA champions were the San Antonio Spurs, not the fucking Lakers or the...
Go Spurs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're in San Antonio now.
Mm-hmm.
The Stanley Cup champions were the Anaheim Ducks. They were still the Mighty Ducks at this point.
Oh, nice. Right on. I like that.
All right,
Okay.
well, that's
Any
all
other
of sports stuff I got. Nope.
Alrighty. Let's change the channel from the Mighty Ducks game and switch on over to see what's number one in the country on TV. And this is a year where it is solid throughout the year. The top 5 spots are completely the same, unchanged from January through December. And that is in places number 1 and 2. You have American Idol on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then in third, fourth, fifth, depending on the time of year. The first half of the year, they all shared the same ratings. In the second half of the year, different ratings. But in the same position, you have Dancing with the Stars on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dancing with the Stars and American Idol. That was what people were watching.
All of the talent shows, I guess, were super popular around this time.
Yeah. American Idol always shocks me that it had been that popular for so long. It's like I knew it was extremely popular, but I didn't know it was number 1 for years. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Always at the tops of the list for these early 2000s through the 2010s and stuff like that. Some other popular shows that weren't singing competitions, they were followed closely by CSI, Original Recipe, Grey's Anatomy. It's really hard for me to say that and not say Grace and Anthony, because that's what I call it as a joke. It's like, oh, what's Grace? What are Grace and Anthony up to? You know, it's the main characters to me. And then you have Desperate Housewives and House. I know you like House.
I did like House a lot when I was out.
Some debut shows. Another show I know you care for quite dearly. Mad Men came out this year. Probably a hot ticket item from the year, I'd say. I still have never watched it. I gotta check out that show.
Yeah, you should. I mean, like every show, it kind of falls off later, but the first couple seasons are really good.
I really liked Burn Notice at the time. Did you ever watch that one?
I never really watched that show, no.
I liked Jeffrey Donovan because he was in 1 second of Hitch, and that was one of my favorite movies. And then it also had Bruce Campbell, and he's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I also liked Chuck. That was a cool show. Also, Gossip Girl was a pretty big deal at the time. And The Big Bang Theory came out this year, which is not a show I enjoy very much, but I know quite a few people do.
A lot of people really like that show, and I don't really like it that much. I don't get it.
Yeah, not a fan. But speaking to the competition style stuff, you also had Kitchen Nightmares that came out this year.
Oh, yeah. I love that show.
Yeah, Kitchen Nightmares is great. That's the one where he goes through and he like seeing what's wrong with your restaurant. Oh my God, it's all rotten. What's wrong with you? That's a good one. I still watch that show. It's not as fun anymore because he just isn't mean anymore, Gordon Ramsay. At this point, he was still very okay.
Mean.
He was okay with just screaming in strangers' faces.
Yeah.
And I feel like after doing that for 15 years, he was like, I'm tired of this, you know?
Yeah, like blood pressure high all the time.
Yeah. And I know that was mostly an act anyway. That's what people have said. But it's like also I think he probably was a pretty hard chef to deal with for, you know, having built an empire so quickly in his life.
Yeah.
You have to be kind of a hard ass, I'm sure. Also, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader came out.
Oh, shit. I love that show.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. I never really watched it too much, but I'd check it out every so often. Also here's one that I watched quite a bit of. Another reality show was America's Most Smartest Model. And that was what it was called. And it's, you know, just playing on the fact that models are stupid, I guess. And this was trying to figure out who was the most smartest one. And I just started watching it the other day. I'd never seen it before, but I just last night was like, damn it, I'm not going to be able to finish in time for tomorrow to find out who won. But I watched a lot of it. It's very entertaining.
No, I never watched that before. I think I've seen clips of it on the internet, but I never even knew that show existed.
Yeah, I didn't recognize it when I came across it, and I was just like, that seems kind of funny. So I checked it out, and it's on Tubi, and I enjoyed watching it. It's very mean-spirited, you know? It's them just trying to make these people look stupid. But the thing is, they are so fucking stupid. Every episode, I'm like, oh my God, these people are dumb. Like,
See, that would frustrate me. I don't think that'd be something I could sit down and watch every week, you know?
Yeah, it varies. It's a lot of, back then, you had a lot of what's going on in the house, you know? Like the Big Brother aspect of reality TV was still pretty big. You know, what are the people doing in between the challenges and stuff? And it just shows them like living and talking and stuff like that, which has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit, I think, in recent years, as social media has crept up so you don't need to wonder what people are doing behind closed doors, I guess. In that same vein, as that sort of aspect of it where everyone's excited about what's going on in the house, the Flavor of Love had come out recently, so this was a year where they were just like, replicate that success, fucking throw everything at the wall. We got to try to do that again. So you had A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila, Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, I Love New York with New York, who was one of the runners-up from the Flavor of Love show, and Flavor of Love Charm School, which was like the girls from Flavor of Love who are now going to some charm school thing. So I was like a weird guilty pleasure of mine. I really enjoyed Flavor of Love. I watched that show all the way through, and then I didn't watch any of these other ones, though. I was like, okay, that's about as much of that as I can stomach.
I can't stand those like reality-based TV shows. Never could.
I used to just... I hated them on principle, but like I've gone back and watched Jersey Shore all the way through now in the last couple of years, and I fucking love it. Like I gotta watch the reunions, you know.
I'll try to watch them, but fuck, I hated them so much when they would come out, especially because everybody had those dumbass haircuts. It's off principle. I was just like, ugh, those people, they're stupid, they're drunk, they're idiots, and they're getting money off of that. Like I'm not gonna support them. And then now that I'm older and stuff, it's like they already got the money. I gotta watch them be dumbasses. Oh well, you know. So like I said, I've gone back and checked them out. To bring it back to my overarching theme for the year, the whole, you know, extreme sports and like really marketing towards dudes, I guess, too, was a big thing at this time. Spike Guys Choice Awards debuted this year, and they had some categories such as Guy of the Year, Biggest Ass Kicker, John Claude Goddamn, Decade of Hotness, and Funniest MF. I'll leave you to figure out what MF stands for. You also had the TV show Mansers that debuted. So those are kind of the guy-centric, weird, you know, that kind of area was profitable, I guess, to some degree. But then in the skateboarding sort of realm, them trying to build off the success of Jackass and things like that. You had Dr. Steve-O, which I had never seen before, but I watched a couple episodes of over this last week, where Steve-O gets people to send him requests to make them more manly. He's like, there's too many wussies in this world, and I'm taking it upon myself to help them all out and conquer their fears. And so, like, the first episode, one of the guys is, like, afraid of bees. And so I feel like the first challenge that he has him do is he makes him wear a bee suit. Like, he covers him in bees. And the guy's, like sobbing during it. And Steve was like, come on, man, you can do it. I know it's tough, but you gotta be fucking brave, man. And so then the dude, like I said, he's full on sobbing. I felt so bad for him. Oh.
Like, reality TV was so mean back then. And, like, one of the guys is afraid of eating meat on a bone, which is, like, a weird fear to have. It seems stupid in the first place. But Steve-O's, like, brings a chicken, like a dead chicken, to his house. And he's like, you got to bite the head off that chicken. Otherwise, I'm leaving you here. And I'm moving on without you. And the guy's like, I can't do this. And he's like, all right, man, I'm starting to get mad. And he's just, like, being mean to him to get him to do it. And eventually the guy bites the head off a dead chicken.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was like plucked and ready for consumption. It wasn't just like a
freshly
dead
sure,
chicken, but
it's like, you see this live chicken? You gotta bite its head off.
You see how this chicken's alive? I want that to change.
You see how its head's attached to its body?
You see how he's running around? That's not going to be any different, but his head won't be there. In the same sort of vein, on MTV, you had Scarred, which was the show that was a bunch of dudes hurting themselves.
I watched the fuck out of that show.
Oh, God, that was so hard to watch. I loved watching it, too, but, man, there were some of those that were gnarly, just complete bone snapping in half, and then they call them back in to get the trick that they got hurt on. You're just like, damn, what a legal nightmare this show must have been, but, you know, the people participated in it.
That's crazy. I don't remember them having to redo their trick. I just remember them talking about it.
Maybe it was just one special I watched. I remember there was a live special where they had people come back and they like recreated the obstacles they got hurt on, and they had to do tricks on them.
It's fucked up.
I don't really remember anything other than, because it was such a gnarly injury, one guy was trying to ollie over a chain that was just hanging between two poles, and he got caught up on it and just like destroyed his leg. And like one of the hardest ones to watch. And then when he came back for the redemption, I was like, oh, God, please don't fall again. And he just ollies over it really quickly. It was like, he just was like, yeah, I fucking just messed up that first time. It's not a hard trick for me to do, and it's just a little chain I had to ollie over, and so he just quickly does it. But yeah, it definitely made me nervous to get out there on the board. You also had Life of Ryan, starring Ryan Sheckler. You had Bam's Unholy Union, which starred Bam Margera. So they were giving pro skateboarders shows to try to capitalize on the success of the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, a bunch of comedy shows here that came out. Great year for comedy TV shows. I mean, I talk all the time about comedy's dead and stuff like that, but it's like, man, look at what we grew up with. No wonder I feel that way. The Human Giant came out on MTV. Plus, you had Flight of the Conchords, their TV show debuted.
Oh, okay.
I love that show. Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, Great Job came out. Whitest Kids You Know, which I went back and rewatched the first couple episodes. Love that show.
What was it on so I can watch it?
I think it was on Tubi,
okay.
I want to say. And then, or it might have been Amazon. One of the two. Also, the Sarah Silverman program. And then on Adult Swim, you had TV shows like Super Jail, which was probably the biggest and best one to come out this year. But they had a couple other weird ones like Drinky Crow Show, I really enjoyed, and Xavier Renegade Angel. Those are a lot weirder, but I liked those too. But they were cartoons. And for the kiddos in the cartoon realm, you have Phineas and Ferb debuted this year.
Oh, love that show.
That's a really good show. I mean, even at 15 years old, I was like, I could watch this. My little brother and sister enjoyed it, and I was like, I don't mind watching this show. It's good.
Yeah.
Also, Chowder.
I watched that show, even if I was older.
I never saw Chowder. That was one that it looked cool. I liked the way the patterns were like static on the screen, and they would like move around, like their shirts and stuff were like a weird pattern compared to the rest of the animation. It
reminded me of Imaginary Adventures of Blue. Is that what it's called?
Oh, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
That's what it was. Yep.
That's
what it reminded me of.
Oh, I never saw Chowder. I should check it out because I love Foster's. Another show that I enjoyed was the show El Tigre, The Adventures of Manny Rivera. He was a little luchador.
That's also a cartoon? I don't remember that one.
It was really cool. I mean, it was neat to see Mexican culture on Nickelodeon at the time.
Yeah.
So I liked that show when I was a kid. And then non-cartoon shows for kids, two huge ones, iCarly and The Wizards of Waverly Place. Gave us a couple of future stars in Miranda Cosgrove and Selena Gomez. They both got their start earlier, but it kind of made them household names.
Yeah.
Definitely a type of show I could not stand watching.
No, I didn't watch
constant screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
And my last little bit of TV information here is that on June 15th, Bob Barker finished hosting The Price is Right after 35 years.
That's sad day. What, Drew Carey take it over?
Yeah, it was a weird
transition.
Choice.
Yeah.
And now Drew's been doing it for a very long time himself. And it's just interesting to think there's a generation of people who grew up with Drew Carey being the Price is Right guy,
Yeah, for sure, because we all grew up with Bob.
Yeah, and Drew Carey was from the Drew Carey Show, and Whose Line Is It Anyway? So it was like kind of a weird thing to see him be put in this sort of docile role where we're used to him kind of being a loudmouth asshole,
Yeah.
And Bob Barker didn't have, at least to me and anybody who was 35 years or less of age at the time when he quit, you didn't know what he did before Price is Right.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, you don't have that to juxtapose off of him.
I have two kid shows that I actually watched one later, Total Drama Island. I watched that one later, and it was actually pretty good. I watched it when I was like in my 20s. Like, oh, this is actually a pretty cool show.
I mean, it was very long lasting in that they kept like rebooting it in weird different ways, and I'd be like, I guess this show must be decent because it keeps coming back. Because it was like Total Drama, then Total Drama Island, and then a bunch of different weird versions of it.
Yeah, so it was popular. And then one I remember coming out, and I saw it on here, was Corey in the House. It was on, I think it was like his dad is a chef or something like that at the White House.
Yeah.
But I just remember it coming out when I was a kid, and I saw it on here, and it jogged my memory, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was the sequel to That's So Raven.
Oh, that's why it's familiar to me. Okay.
Yeah,
it makes sense now.
I don't know if I mentioned Yo Gabba Gabba. I think I might have skipped over that one.
Oh yeah, I think you did.
That was pretty huge at the time. The merchandising for that show was everywhere, and like I'd see a lot of college age kids and stuff like that wearing Yo Gabba Gabba T-shirts. It was kind of our generation's Pee-wee's Playhouse, I think.
Yeah.
I never watched it though. It seems like a show that would be neat to watch when you're baked, but I never got around to doing it.
I never watched it either.
Well, some pretty cool stuff on TV this year.
Yeah. I didn't expect it. I think going into it, I was like, I don't know about this. And I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff that came out this year.
Yeah, I think that's where I was parked, was in front of the TV for most of this year, because the music I don't have a ton of entry points into. There's some weird stuff on the bottom of the list that I put in there, but this was a year probably when I fully had checked out of listening to pop music,
Yeah. Kind of getting to the point where you're old enough to decide that stuff for yourself.
Let's see. Let's jump into the top 5 songs on the Billboard charts.
All right, number 5 is Buy You a Drink or a Shoddy Snappin' by T-Pain featuring Young Jock. It's released on February 20th, 2007. On May 26th, it reached number 1, becoming T-Pain as well as Young Jock's number 1 single on the Billboard Hot 100, but it also hit number 1 in the R&B and hip-hop charts on May 12th. T-Pain said during a USA Today interview that Buy You a Drink was the first recording where he was trying to make a hit song. So he was like, all right, well, what do people like doing? Drinking and girls and going out. So he's like, let's just try to get something that's actually going to get people to be excited and want to buy this record. And it worked.
It spent just 1 week at the top of the charts. And surprisingly, it didn't chart at all in the UK. I thought that was kind of crazy that it would be so huge here and not even pop up on the charts over there. It's pretty wild. I think T-Pain is a pretty smart guy, when you watch interviews with him and stuff.
Yeah, because he didn't have to do the things that he did. He was a talented guy.
Yeah, without he's really an amazing singer.
Yeah, super good. So, I think it's the decisions that he made. Like you said, he's a smart guy. The decisions that he made were for business purposes, really.
Yeah. I mean, he tried for a long time to make his music pop, and it just didn't. So he's like, all right, fine, fuck it, I'll do what people want to hear. And so, that he said this was the first time he went into the studio with the intention to write a hit song. And, it's almost like the hip-hop version of a country song where you're like, let me just plug in the words that I know people like, It's always the joke about country music is you sing about a truck and losing your dog or whatever. And this, he was like, all right, people like drinking, they like being with girls, they like drinking with girls, so I'm just going to write a song that's like, hey, let me buy you a drink,
Yeah. And I think I feel like this song kind of sums up a lot of what everybody listened to in this era of music.
Yeah.
It's like fucking bitches and getting money and drinking and partying. It went from being like a gangster to being like a partier.
Yeah, that's true. I was very against T-Pain at this point in my life. I hated the auto-tune stuff. I didn't like the fact that there was no substance to these songs.
Yeah.
And now, looking back on it, this one's probably my favorite off the top 5. It's fun to listen to. I like his voice. And really, I've come around on the auto-tune a lot, too. That used to drive me nuts. And now it's like, it's just like anything else. If you don't it's the same thing as being like, the distortion on these electric guitars is out of control in 1966 or something like that,
Yeah.
It's a tool that
you wouldn't be wrong, I guess, either. Saying that everybody was doing it because it was popular wouldn't be a false statement.
Yeah, I think that he did it artfully to a degree. Plus, he's the one who fucking discovered this stuff. I don't remember if we've talked about it on the show, but the amount of work he put into finding auto-tune through a bunch of plugins, and he just looked through thousands of CDs and just spent so much time trying to figure out how to do that because he had heard it before. Mm-hmm. And, he found it and exploited it. So it's like, that took ingenuity. That's fucking work that he put into it. And then he also sings well. It's like it takes a good voice and makes it sound different. But if you sing like shit, it just sounds bad. And a lot of people started doing that.
Yeah, that became kind of the norm for a while.
Yeah, and that's where it got annoying. So I think
that evolved to help people who weren't good at being a musician at all be good, because then it became, well, you don't even have to be a good singer, but you don't even really have to be a good rapper. You can kind of just mumble through your raps, and we're still going to put it out, and people are still going to listen to it. I think it started the degradation of like art in music.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that he bears a brunt of the responsibility. But I guess for better or worse, it is his fault. So,
Yeah.
well, what are you going to do? I think there was a rash of people copying anybody who did something cool and interesting in every genre. So, there's a lot of shitty psychedelic music after the Beatles did Sgt. Pepper or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So, Rolling Stone ranked this the 74th best R&B song of the 21st century. So, that was...
Sure.
Yeah. Guess I don't know what the other 100 are, so... But Rolling Stone liked it fine enough. It's not like the best song of the 21st century or anything else, but R&B specifically, they're saying 74. All right. Number 4 on the Billboard charts this year was Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie. This came out on May 22nd of 2007 and spent, again, 1 week at the top. It was the 4th single from her debut solo album, Duchess. She had been with the Black Eyed Peas, if you're unfamiliar with Fergie's work out there. This was her 3rd number 1 as a solo artist. So, like, boom, 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 man. She had 4 singles. 3 of them went number 1. This is Australia's best-selling song for the year of 2007. Damn. So, yeah, those Aussies liked this one, I guess. Produced by will.i.am, her old friend from the Black Eyed Peas. This is Fergie's longest-running and highest-selling single. In the production of this song, there were around 30 instrumentalists that were contracted to play for this song, including 18 violinists, 4 violas, and 4 cellists.
Wow.
A lot of strings in the arrangement.
So it was like composed.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to hear.
Yeah. It wasn't just all a bunch of, computer-based things or whatever.
Yeah.
And it actually got generally pretty positive reviews when it came out. People liked it, and they kind of thought this was the best song from Fergie so far, best song off of her album. This is number 115 on Billboard's 600 most massive smashes over the chart's 6 decades. Every once in a while I bring up a Billboard list. Just whenever they're super ridiculous like that, I have to say it. Billboard's 600 most massive smashes over the chart's 6 decades. That's the name of the list. Number 115.
I want to get the job to name these lists.
Yeah,
so fucking easy.
Honestly, it would be easy to just come up with different things, too. If they're, like, hurting that bad for lists, I'd be like, dude, I'll give you the 17 best songs that use the word strawberry. Who fucking cares, man? In addition to finishing number 4 on this year's Hot 100, it actually stayed on the charts and finished number 78 in year 2008. So it had some staying power.
Okay.
And in the entirety of the 2000 to 2010 decade, this finishes at number 13 in terms of sales.
Dang, that's really good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for being number 4 this year.
Yeah.
Not being number 1.
Yeah.
It also won Best Video of the Year on VH1.
I forgot about that channel.
yeah, I know. Two of the things I watched referenced VH1. A movie, and then actually on the model show I was watching. They were talking about somebody who worked at VH1 was like coming. And I was like, oh man, this is the second time I've heard VH1 referenced today, and I miss it, man. It was such a good channel. And at this point, I think I liked VH1 better than MTV because they were doing what MTV had set out to do, and MTV was just making ridiculous TV shows.
Reality TV shows.
Yeah, they dropped the music out.
All right, moving on to number 3, The Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani and Akon. Released on December 19th, 2006, The Sweet Escape debuted at number 93 on the Billboard charts, but then on December 30th, it peaked at number 2, but it never actually hit number 1. Akon and Gwen Stefani performed this on American Idol, actually, in March of 2007. And then after that is when it peaked at number 2 on April 14th. Akon was pretty much wanting to work with Stefani right away when he was given the offer, and Stefani was reluctant. Because, rightfully so. She thought that if they worked together, they would just come out with like some generic pop song.
He thought some of her No Doubt sound was missing from her solo work. Like he was like, I'm trying to get her back into that No Doubt feeling, which I don't think this really is that No Doubty.
No, I don't think so.
I really like No Doubt as a band. They're great. Her solo stuff is not necessarily my favorite. This song's okay. I mean, it's a decent song. I enjoy the kind of swinging beat to it. You know, it's different, so I like that about it. But
yeah, it's like bop, like boo-woppy kind of esque.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost jazzy in a way. I kind of like that aspect of it. The part where she's like, there's like the weird kind of almost a rap part. I saw a video a while ago that like had the music leading up to that part, and then it plays the guy from SpongeBob going and it fits so well. And now anytime I hear the song, I just immediately think of that.
Can't even remember the words.
Yeah, but she spits them out so fast. I looked at them earlier to try to remember them. It's like something about being on the floor. It's your fault you turned off the refrigerator.
Yeah,
something,
I don't know.
whatever. But all I hear is the video for this song featured the Harajuku girls, who became like her backup dancers as well as like her entourage at public events and stuff like that. She was really into like Japanese culture at this point. I remember her dressing up as like a geisha and stuff like that sometimes. And there's a lot of Japanese imagery in a lot of her stuff at this point, and her clothing line and things like that. So she kind of got a little bit of heat from people saying she was accusing her of appropriation, things like that.
Can't even enjoy a culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, that's what I saw a lot of people in comments and stuff like that to a video that was talking about the controversy, that were like, hey, I'm in Japan, I'm Japanese, and we don't care that she's doing this. It's cool. We like that she's showing America what our culture is like, but apparently you guys have a problem with it.
Well, that's the thing, is it's always other people getting offended on other people's behalf.
Yeah. I just wanted to point that out because there was also this year a Mad TV parody song came out called Aren't Asians Great? In which the Gwen Stefani character is singing all about how Asians have given us all this amazing stuff, and she's singing about all the, being good at math and all these racist stereotypes and stuff like that. They decided to poke fun at her for that this year. It's not particularly funny, but Mad TV is not always that funny.
Nope.
All right, let's get on to number 2. Number 2 is Umbrella by Rihanna featuring Jay-Z. This came out March 29th of 2007. Spent a whopping 7 weeks at the top, so way better performance than the last couple we've talked about. And it topped the charts in 19 countries.
Damn.
Went 10 weeks at number 1 in the UK, which was the longest of the whole decade. So this is the kind of the most popular song of the 2010s for UK listeners. Because its release, or just its time on the charts and everything, coincided with June being one of the wettest months on record for the UK. They had an absurd amount of unseasonable rainfall, and so this song got played nonstop over there because it was just funny, I guess.
So stupid.
I mean, it was so bad. Authorities had described the June and July rescue efforts as the biggest in UK peacetime. So, not...
Damn, like all the flooding and stuff that was happening, probably? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like a big deal. It was actually like a big thing going on in the UK. And then DJs were like, I know what'll be funny.
They have a good sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Did you guys bring your umbrella?
Make sure dude, how many DJs did that for sure every day? Like,
oh, yeah.
All right, it's looking like another wet one out there. Make sure you have your umbrella, LAA. Romania and New Zealand also experienced some of the worst storms in their histories at this time as well.
I mean, and those places aren't really close to England.
No, yeah, it was just a really wet year for everybody for some reason.
It was like Romania's on the other side of Europe, and New Zealand's like literally on the other, is pretty much on the other side of the world, as far as you can get.
Yeah, the whole world was just being pelted with rain, and a bunch of DJs went, I know what'll cheer people up. That's
crazy.
Rihanna singing about rain.
Well, good job for them. good year for this to come out. Could have been a dry
Yeah.
year, and then be like, where the fuck? Why do I need an umbrella?
It was actually written for Britney Spears, but her management rejected it because they said that she had enough songs to record for this next album she was working on. So we're just like, no, thank you. We're cool. Like, I always wonder about that. Would the song have done as well if it was Britney Spears? I mean, probably not. There's no way of knowing how a different artist's interpretation of a song went. And for, I guess, every hit that there is that almost went to somebody else, there's a million songs that the same thing happened and those songs didn't become hits, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about that Jay-Z feature? I mean, what the fuck was that? Why even show up if you're not going to do anything, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think just for her, I guess, like just for put her up. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like...
I noticed that too. I don't know.
It's not even a verse. It's like kind of... I thought he was about to start rapping and then he goes away and never comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just sort of ad-libbing, it sounded like. At the
Like I
top.
said, I think it was just to help her push her sales and stuff.
Yeah.
Just to have him featured on it.
You see a lot of those in this era from P. Diddy, and I guess Jay-Z's a similar sort of artist in that he's got to be insanely busy with all the other shit he's doing besides making music. So he just shows up for 10 minutes in the studio and says a couple things and leaves, you know? Like when we talked about Kesha and TikTok, and Diddy shows up just to say, "What's up, girl?" You know, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Numero uno. Irreplaceable by Beyonce. Released on October 23rd, 2006, on her second studio album, B-Day. The single became Beyonce's fourth number one in the U.S. and remained at the top of the charts for 10 consecutive weeks. Irreplaceable was the 25th most successful song in the 2000s decade, so from 2000 to 2010. So it didn't do as good as
Sweet Escape.
Sweet Escape, yeah. But it was
No,
certified.
sorry, that was Big Girls Don't Cry.
Big Girls Don't Cry. That's what it was. Yeah.
I'll say first off, it did go 10 consecutive weeks, but 3 of those were in 2006 at the tail end, so 7 in this year. So it kind of tied on its number of weeks with Umbrella, but still was, it obviously lasted longer. The fact that it went 3 already before it even started the year, so
yeah,
I think it probably stayed on the charts longer after that as well. It was written by Neo primarily, with the help of songwriting teams Stargate and Espionage, are 2 other kind of producer duos that got their hands in there as well, and I think they mostly are helped arrange the song, but they're credited as writers as well as Beyonce. But when you actually get into the sort of behind the scenes of how this song was written, Neo originally just wrote the song for himself. He was going to perform it, and actually it was going to be a country song, which it's kind of surprising. Those 2 were sort of hard to juxtapose. How it was originally written as a country song, and was he going to perform it that way? I don't know. But when he realized the lyrics were going to sound pretty fucked up coming out of a guy's mouth, he decided it would be better for a girl to sing it. Which I definitely think now, if you listen to that and think of a guy telling a girl like, "Hey, everything in that closet is mine. I paid for it. You can get the fuck out of my house." It's like, reminds me of the opening scene of Diary of a Mad Black Woman, where he's just like dragging her out of the house by her hair and shit. So it's probably a smart move. I don't think it would have done that well.
I know, and I had to re-listen to it once I read that because I never thought about it like that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I never really thought about a lot of the lyrics of this song until he said that. And then I started listening more closely to it. And you're right.
It comes across as a female empowerment anthem to be like, "Oh, I worked hard for this. It's mine. I'm not going to let some man come in and, walk all over me. You get the fuck out of here. I paid for that shit."
Yeah.
But as a man, that's been said many times,
Jump the song up like 60 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Beyonce's fans, took offense at Neo saying that he originally wrote it for himself. I don't know why. They just, jumped down his throat. Well, actually, his quote that made people mad initially was, "One song that I gave away and didn't want to, but it's actually a good thing that I did, is Beyonce's Irreplaceable. I honestly wrote that song for myself, but that song taught me a very interesting lesson. Many women don't think that differently. However, a man singing it comes across a little bit misogynistic, a little bit mean." So he tweeted that out, or said that in an interview, I believe. And then the fans all jumped down his throat and thought that was a diss at Beyonce somehow. I don't know how you can read into that and think that he's speaking ill of her. And he came out and was just like, "Look, I wrote the song for me. Of course, I didn't want to let it go to anybody. But I'm telling you, it did. It was a better decision because she did what she did with it. So I don't know why you're fucking mad at me. Like I think he tried to be a little diplomatic at first, and then after another little bit of time passed, he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?" And he got mad and was like, I couldn't sing it. What do you want me to say? You know."
Yeah.
Well, some of the accolades for the song: it won the best R&B/soul single at the Soul Train Music Awards. It also won Video of the Year at the BET Awards, and it was the favorite song at the Kids' Choice Awards. It received Grammy nominations for Record of the Year, and also at the Video Music Awards, it was nominated for Video of the Year. And number 60 on Rolling Stone's Best 100 Songs of the 2000s.
I could see that.
Oh, this was a fun little tidbit of information on the song's performance that I thought was very telling of the year. It was the best-selling ringtone by a female.
Interesting.
Because back in the day, you would go on. That's something that I'm sure kids don't know was a thing for such a long time, that there was the ringtone marketplace where you would go on and buy ringtones to have on your phone. And they were usually like $1, I feel like, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember I had Shimmy Shimmy Ya as my ringtone for a long time. Oh, and I remember actually, it was a little later, I'm sure, but ring back tones. Do you remember that? That was fucking sick, dude.
I remember that. When you would call
That's when I had
somebody
Shimmy
and
Shimmy
it'd be like Sublime or something.
Yeah. When you called me, it would go, shimmy, shimmy, ya, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. That was so fucking sick. I missed that. We need to bring that back, dude.
That's true. We should bring that back.
But yeah, Billboard started to track the numbers for ringtone sales at this time.
It's kind of cool.
So, yeah, it was like an actual distinction they had, and this was the best-selling ringtone, I think, ever by a female, not just for the year.
Yeah.
But they don't track that anymore because it's not a thing. Okie dokie, that's about it that I have to say of the Billboard Top 5 songs. We have a list that features songs from the rest of the Billboard Hot 100. The first 50 songs on this list, all the way up to Same Girl by R. Kelly and Usher. Those are from the top Hot 100. Same Girl finished at number 100 for the year. Beyond that, you'll find other releases that came out this year that either didn't chart or perhaps charted later on, but most of these are just straight up no charters, which there's some surprising stuff in there. But let's see, first off on the Hot 100. If you want to follow along, this will be posted onto our social media channels, so you can take a look.
Well, the top 10 are the true top 10, right?
Yes.
So number 6 is Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood. Number 7 is Hey There Delilah by the Plain White T's. I Wanna Love You by Akon and Snoop Dogg. Say It Ain't Right by Nelly Furtado. And Glamorous by Fergie and Ludacris.
Yeah, Fergie was having a year.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, these pretty much solidify what was on the radio all the time, is these kind of artists.
Hey There Delilah. That's kind of surprising that they were that high for the year end. I mean, I know everyone was listening to that, but it's not like what else is on the charts. You know, they were a very different sounding band from what was that popular. But that song was inescapable.
Yes, it was. I don't know. It's funny. We talk about American Idol pretty often on this.
Yes.
Just to name a few that I can see right here: Carrie Underwood and Daltrey. Chris Daltrey was also on American Idol, and they would continue to affect the charts. Like going on, a lot of people coming out of American Idol would, like I said, affect the charts.
Yeah. You also had the debut albums this year. They didn't chart. Their singles didn't chart, but Jordan Sparks and Catherine McPhee both released their debut albums. Some more American Idol stuff going on. There was a lot of these that I remembered that, again, I was like mad about at the time. And now when I listen to them, I'm like, these are so much fun to hear. They're like stupid, but they're fun. And a lot of these, I had no idea who the bands or the artists were that did them. Like Party Like a Rock Star. I could never in a million years have told you that was the Shop Boys.
No.
Or This Is Why I'm Hot. Is Mims. Like these are names I've never heard in my life.
No, I've never heard of that either.
But those songs used to make me annoyed. And like This Is Why I'm Hot I like now. I think that's a fun song. Or like Crank That Soulja Boy is kind of fun to listen to, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember that song.
Some of the stuff that didn't make it to the year ends was surprising. Misery Business by Paramore. I thought that song was wildly popular.
Oh yeah.
I Got It From My Mama by Will.i.am. That also was one that didn't really chart that I thought would, I mean, I recognize that, immediately.
Yeah.
Lip Gloss by Lil Mama. That was huge and also surprised me. But that was
Oh,
big
crap.
for
I
a very
remember
short
that
amount of time.
song.
My lip gloss is popping. My lip
Yeah,
gloss
yeah.
is cool. That was a good one. The Pretender by Foo Fighters.
Kids, MGMT.
Yeah.
They were popular for a while, though, right?
Yeah,
At
yeah.
this
They
point?
didn't, but they didn't chart. I don't think anything that they did ever really hit the big charts. They just were like, popular with high school, college kids, I guess.
Yeah.
And then towards the bottom of the list, I start kind of filling it with sillier things as it gets, into the last couple entries on there. First, there's a rash of like Disney stars making music, like Potential Breakup Song by Ali and AJ, Push It to the Limit by Corbin Bleu. Hannah Montana 2 came out, which is like her main Hannah Montana album. And the Jonas Brothers' Year 3000 were all like popular among children. They weren't on the year-end charts or anything like that, but at this point, kids making music for kids is starting to be popular. After that, I put in some things that come out in other forms of media this year. Pop Goes My Heart from the movie Music and Lyrics. The movie's okay, but that song is actually a legit 80s pop banger. Death Clock, the metal. And then another movie that had some very, very solid music, Walk Hard by Dewey Cox.
Yeah,
And
it's so good.
the movie is amazing, and the music from it is all really, really good.
It is. It's all really good.
He's a very talented singer, but they just from a songwriting perspective, like they nailed every song that they were trying to do in the exact way.
They're actually really good songs, and a lot of them are extremely funny. The Bob Dylan one,
Yeah,
is
I can't
the
listen to Bob
best.
Dylan.
It's so funny, dude. It's so
It really
good.
ruined Bob Dylan for me, I think. Like after that, the mouse with the overbite. Okay, can you see him? He was like, what is this song about? Are you kidding me? The song is really deep.
It's so good. Well, that being said, you want to jump into movies?
Yeah, let's get on. That was a perfect transition, John C. Reilly. Thanks a lot for doing that.
Right.
Okay, we're going to discuss the number one movie at the box office for the year 2007. That movie came out on May the 4th, be with you, but it's not Star Wars. It is Spider-Man 3, directed by Sam Raimi, written by Sam along with his brother Ivan Raimi, and Alvin Argent, starring Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst. Is it Kirsten or Kirsten? I'll never know. Topher Grace, Thomas Hayden Church, and James Franco. Had a budget of $258 million and grossed $336,530,303 in the year 2007. The plot synopsis here, I'm pulling from the back of the DVD cover, and that says, Peter Parker finally has the girl of his dreams, Mary Jane Watson, and New York City is in the throes of Spider-Mania. But when a strange alien symbiote turns Spider-Man's suit black, his darkest demons come to light, changing Spider-Man inside as well as out. Spider-Man is in for the fight of his life against a lethal mix of villains, the Deadly Sandman, Venom, and the New Goblin, as well as the enemy within himself.
I think I liked this movie watching it again than I did when it first came out.
Oh, 100%. Same thing.
Yeah, I expected all of the campy stuff of him like walking around and dancing and being all with his emo haircut and stuff. But I actually like this movie more than I guess I anticipated going into it.
My memory of it was just that it was awful. That's what I thought going into this. Like, this is going to suck. I haven't rewatched this movie in years because I was an enormous Spider-Man fan, like prior to the movies coming out. He was my favorite comic book. And so then when the movie started, I mean, I loved the first one so much. The second one I know is most people's favorite, but I prefer the first one. But the second one was still really good. And then this one was just such a letdown in comparison to the first two at the time. And watching it with retrospect, it is a clumsy way to handle the franchise in specifically a franchise that was so well done for so long. It's not a very well done movie. A lot of the criticisms are correct and sound. I mean, that was my biggest complaint rewatching it was like, I honestly could just do without all of in its entirety, the Venom storyline should have been cut. Like, there was no need to have Venom be a part of this movie. But even if you're going to include him, whatever, the worst part is him dancing around and having the black hair. That part is really bad still, you know? It's funny now, but it still is like, that shouldn't be in this movie, you know?
Yeah. I heard James Franco say something, or I was reading it, that they actually added him in to more of the like action scenes because they said test audiences said there wasn't enough action in this movie. So I couldn't imagine what it was like before they redid it and added more action scenes, because I think there is a lot of like storytelling and stuff in it already.
Yeah, I wonder, because like I said, rewatching it, I was thinking, you don't need to have 3 villains. That's just overkill. So I was kind of like, well, what needs to go? Thomas Hayden Church, I love him as an actor, and the Sandman story is really good. You know, it's very strong. Like, his motivations for doing things make sense. You care about him. Plus, the effects they did on him are fucking sick.
So cool. I expected him to be worse.
Well. Yes, man.
And it was so cool. When he first becomes sand, and then like he turns back into himself. Super, super dope.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Even now, it looks better than fucking in Endgame, them all turning to dust. Like, this looked cooler than that, despite being 15 years older.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took them like 6 months or something like that to actually do that. They had to like invent some new, like, that's cool how often that happens, that they have to come up with some new program to make an effect in a movie. They're just like, well, we can't do this the way we're doing things already, so we got to come up with a new way. And I mean, it's a super strong effect. I was blown away by how well it holds up, especially because there's a lot of CGI in the movie that looks really bad now.
Yeah.
You know, they definitely were a little green screen happy, particularly in the fight scenes between Harry and Peter when they're like going through the alleys and stuff like that. That looked awful.
It did. And it kind of gave me like kind of low hopes for the rest of it. And then I feel like the rest of it actually did get better. Yeah.
That's kind of, I brought up at the beginning, one of the instances of like people trying to capitalize on the skateboarding stuff was, I think, Green Goblin going from being on a glider to like a little snowboard shaped thing. Yeah. You know? And then he's like kind of skating around and stuff like that. I think that was just trying to jump on that popularity. As well as when Spider-Man is chasing the armored car and like the back door flies off and then he's skating on that around the city, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I think there were a couple of different things of them trying to appeal to kids like me, you know?
Church, when he punches the wall when he first like encounters Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
He breaks like 3 of his knuckles because the wall that they set up actually wasn't set up yet. So like miscommunication of like, hey, you guys need to do this. Okay, well, it's not done yet, but you guys must film the scene anyway. You ended up punching the real wall and broke his knuckles.
Gnarly. He's a big guy, too. He put on so much muscle for this movie.
Yeah,
imagine how hard he... Because, like, you're just swinging away. Like, you know it's going to be foam. Because, like, there was a section in the middle of the wall that was supposed to be removed. I guess removed? I don't know how they were going to... Like, how do you...
removed and replaced, probably.
I guess. Like, how do you have the wrong wall there? It seems like, you know, this is a wall. Fuck, dude. It's a giant concrete pillar.
The way I read it, I just don't think that it was done. I think that they were like, all right, this is the way it's going to happen. And then it just never actually happened. You know what I mean? Or at least not in time for the scene.
They got lucky that it was such a... I mean, he broke his hand, but fuck, like, you know, that sort of stuff happens where they don't remove the blanks from the cartridges or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So it can go really bad, but you're just like, man, how do you not... You know what time they're shooting. You know what I mean? And if like you're in that department, don't you go, oh, fuck, that's happening today. I don't know.
Or, hey, this isn't ready yet, guys. Can we do something else in the meantime?
His stuff is all really solid, the Sandman storyline and all that. And then you need the Harry and Peter as a button on the trilogy, you know? Like, you got to bring that all to completion. And Sam Raimi didn't really want to include Venom. He was sort of pressured into it. And I think that's really the downfall of the movie, is having too many villains, obviously. And the Venom one, they just didn't handle right. You know, he's like, Topher Grace is kind of annoying, but he's also just not the right shape of person to be Venom. You know, he's supposed to be like a big burly guy. Venom's supposed to be huge and menacing, not like a little just dark version of Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that was just, you know, like I said, just kind of produce, and then you produce all of the black suit, I mean, emo Spider-Man stuff, which is the worst part of the movie. So I think that could have been done without. And crazily, the way that this movie kind of was critically lambasted, I mean, obviously it did well. It was the #1 movie in the year. But it was, I guess, bad enough that the studio, like, Sam Raimi had a 4th movie planned for sure. And he also reportedly had plans to do a 5th and 6th movie in this series. And they just scrapped it all because this one didn't go as well as it should have or whatever.
But it was still the #1 movie of the year domestically, at least.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous, decision to make, I think, on their parts. Like, this would have kept making money.
100%. Yep.
There wasn't that much precedent, I guess, at this point, though. This is pre-Marvel stuff and, everybody knowing, anyone will go see a superhero thing,
Yeah.
But I just think it's so weird because it did so well. I guess it's one of the few instances of seeing Hollywood, or it's rarer now, that they saw something produced that they didn't think was the high quality and decided not to go with it. They weren't just going, this movie made money, let's make another one,
Yeah, I guess I can respect that.
Yeah, for years afterwards, Transformer movies. Every one that comes out, people say it's terrible, and then they make another one because they made millions and millions of dollars,
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to say about this, that Bryce Dallas Howard, the girl who played Gwen, she was pregnant during the crane scene and didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
When they were filming.
Scary.
Yeah. I mean, obviously she wasn't falling from buildings, but I'm sure she was rolling around on the ground and jumping around and doing other stuff,
Jumping straight into her stomach.
Yeah, like diving on the ground onto her stomach. Yeah. So, luckily, I didn't hear of anything happening, but, obviously it was early on enough where she didn't even know, so.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. One of the weird things about it is that she's cast as Gwen, who's a blonde, and Kirsten Dunst is cast as Mary Jane, who's a redhead, where in reality they have the opposite hair colors. Weird decision to make. Man, the beginning of this, moving into it, throughout the whole start of it, I'm kind of like, Mary Jane's kind of giving him a hard time about nothing, it feels like, for a little while. And then he just kisses Gwen Stacy in front of everybody with her in the audience and shit. It was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it was so stupid.
What a weird decision to make, dude. And then he's just like, oh, yeah, she's just some girl in my class. I was like, damn, you know her, too. If it had just been a stranger, it's one thing. But it's like,
no, you go to class with her.
You.
Yeah, and then, I think you're right. 100%. You nailed it on the head.
Yeah, even just kind of from a writing standpoint, it's like, that's clunky. Like, you couldn't have made it be something that made sense for him to have done. You just needed to introduce a schism between Mary Jane and Spider-Man. So having him kiss another woman in front of everybody, like, you didn't have to write anything. You just go, he'll kiss Gwen Stacy. She's from the comic books,
Yeah. Yeah, because she really wasn't in there besides that. He saved her once.
Yeah.
She's in the class, and then he kisses her, and then they go on a date, and then that was it.
Near
the end.
That's another thing that's just, like, the use of Gwen Stacy and of Venom in the movie is really piss poor compared to the comic books. I think those were big missteps on their part. Oh, I got the T-shirt today. I know I've worn this one before, but Black Suit Spider-Man from the comics.
The ringing of the bell to get the symbiote out, I don't know how true that is to comics, but I thought it was kind of lame. Like I said, I didn't really read comics as a kid, so I don't know if that is an actual thing that happens, but I thought it was kind of lame.
It's sort of one of those things where you're like, so you're telling me throughout all the battles and shit that this thing is involved in, there's never a high-pitched sound like bells ringing?
Right. Or a piece of metal hitting the ground.
Yeah, like a car scraping against the floor and stuff like that isn't the same, but it's got to just be specifically bells.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was lame.
Yeah, I don't really remember, because it is in a church where he actually removes the suit in the comic books. I can't remember. I think it is because of the church bells. Let me see. Yeah, it's the church bell. That's what I thought.
Okay. So at least it's true to it. I might not think it's the best choice of storyline, but at least it's true to comics.
Yeah, I guess you can't necessarily fault them for it. But it's also like, that's the point you're going to fucking stay true to the comics on? Is the point that's dumb?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Now, time to rate this thing. Like you said, for all the complaints I've been levying this time, it was more fun to watch than I remembered, for sure. The rest of the time is good,
Yeah.
There's some cool action sequences. So I didn't hate it this time around. But on a scale of 2007 cookies with nuts, how many are you going to be giving Spider-Man 3? That scene was funny. Go make some more with nuts in them.
Yeah.
Got
You
any
got
milk?
nuts?
I was like, what is this?
Maybe it's just Tobey Maguire not being able to play like a slick kind of person is what makes it a little harder. I don't know.
I also think though they were confused about how they wanted to portray him because like when he's in the club, everyone's like, "Wow, get a load of this smooth daddy-o." But when he's walking around the streets, all the girls are like, "Ew," you know. And those scenes are directly one right after the other. You're like, is he supposed to be off-putting and gross, or is he supposed to be suave and cool? But I think if he was like not Tobey Maguire, it maybe would have translated better to be like, "Oh, this guy is kind of suave and cool, but he's also kind of a sleazeball," you know.
James Franco being suave and cool.
Yeah. Then you can see girls being like, "Ew, this guy thinks he's hot shit." But like with Tobey Maguire, you're just like, "Ew, what is this nerd dancing around for?" And then he goes in and wows everybody with his piano playing. Dig on this. Oh God, so bad. The best part is when he comes out and does his little dance when he gets his new clothes.
Oh yeah. And he's all
It's so fucking funny. The dance is like so stupid, but he actually does it really well. Like he's got
it
some
is
good
funny.
moves. Okay, out of 2007, Cookies with Nuts, I'm going to give this 1,207. 1,307. Get a little bit more.
Okay. I was gonna say I think 12 is a little low. 13 is pretty close. I'm gonna say 1377.
Yeah, that seems about right. 60-something%.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Let's talk about what else happened this year at the movie theaters. I got the top 5 here. So you got Spider-Man 3 in number 1. You have Shrek the Third, so another S-named character getting their third installment. You have the first film in the Transformers franchise coming in at number 3. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which is also a third movie. And Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is number 5 for the year. Which
Is that the
I think
fourth
is the
one?
Fourth, yeah.
I think it is the fourth one.
Some of the other big movies from this year. Michael Clayton and Charlie Wilson's War, I remember being talked about a lot, but I didn't see those. But 2 of, I think, the best movies ever came out this year. There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men.
Those are 2 of the best movies to ever come out ever, for sure. I rewatched No Country for Old Men because I hadn't seen it in forever. It was a great movie.
That's one of that particularly is one of my favorite films of all time. I've seen it just countless times. I was gonna rewatch it and I thought I got other shit I need to try to focus on. This was a hard year for me not to just dip into things I love and have seen a million billion times.
Yeah,
there's a lot from this year for me. So I was trying to expand my horizons a little bit. But man, No Country for Old Men is amazing. And then There Will Be Blood. I think I've mentioned on this show actually that I hadn't seen it until like a year ago, and just watched it for the first time. And I was like, holy fucking shit, that movie's great.
It's so good. It is a long movie, but it is so worth every minute of it for sure. I mean, they probably have 2 scenes they could have cut, but it's still an amazing movie.
I had my attention the whole time. Into the Wild, love that movie.
Love that movie. It's based on a true story. It's sad, but it's a good movie. Really good.
Did you read the book? It's based on a book, right?
I didn't read the book, no.
There were kind of a lot of movies about a similar time frame. The 60s, early 70s was like a lot of nostalgia for that in movies like Factory Girl, which is about the Andy Warhol and Edie Sedgwick relationship. You also had I'm Not There, about Bob Dylan, and Across the Universe, which was a Beatles music.
Movie. Mm-hmm.
I loved Across the Universe when I was a kid. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I think it's got a lot of cool movie-making stuff in there. You know? The music's maybe not that strong, and a lot of the story doesn't make a ton of sense, but I really like how, like, trippy it is, I guess, you know? And I watched I'm Not There for the first time. Have you seen that one? It's about Bob Dylan's life.
I know, but it's with all those other people that portray him, right?
It's like 5 or 6 different actors.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I've watched bits and pieces of it.
As a movie, the way that it was put together, I really enjoyed. I thought they did a lot of cool, just sort of breaking conventions in movie making and stuff that I thought was really neat. But I'm not a huge Bob Dylan guy in the first place. Like, I liked him a lot when I was younger, but again, the Dewey Cox thing kind of ruined him for me a little bit. You know? It's like,
same time frame too.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of comedy movies
About
that
a shit ton of
appeared.
comedies.
A lot of amazing comedies, not just comedies because they come out with them now, but this is a amazing year for them and probably a height of comedy, if arguably.
Yeah, this could be one of like the last great years for comedy. Because I think when we did 2010, it's like, oh, there's still a lot, but there's starting to be a lot of not great ones.
Mm-hmm.
This is
I'll just
all
start.
really
Yeah,
good.
I'll just ramble off some, and we can talk about the ones you want to talk about, or if you got more to say. Hot Fuzz, Knocked Up, Super Bad, Rush Hour 3, Blades of Glory, Wild Hogs, Now I Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, Epic Movie, Dan in Real Life, Hot Rod, Norbit, Walk Hard, A Dewey Cox Story, and Big Stan.
Big Stan, I don't know what that one is.
I meant to watch it because when I was doing research for this, it's a Rob Schneider movie.
Oh, okay. Is it where he's in prison?
Yeah, and he goes to jail. I wanted to watch it so
I have
bad.
no idea how I recollected that.
And then he has to, but he has like 6 months before he has to like turn himself into the prison. So the whole time he's like preparing to go to jail.
That's funny. So it's funny because all the other ones you were listing off, I was like, oh, yep, that one too. And then you got that one. I was like, what the fuck? But weird that I could remember that's what it was based on just from the name and Rob Schneider. Hot Fuzz is one of my favorites. Like that. I love the Cornetto trilogy. And that one I think is my favorite of those movies. And now, too, like years later, I've seen a lot of the movies they're parodying. Whereas The World's End and Shaun of the Dead, like it's obvious. Alien invasion and zombie apocalypse. Like we know those movies without even having to have seen them. But Hot Fuzz, it's like, oh, it's more in a vein of a lot of British horror movies that used to come out that you don't see very much. Like The Wicker Man and that kind of sort of thing.
I guess I never really watched them either.
Yeah, The Wicker Man, a cop goes to a remote village and then all the villagers there's some evil scheme going on that he doesn't know what's happening, and they're all kind of going against him. And so like that's something I didn't have any frame of reference for when I was 15, you know?
Yeah. Super Bad is probably like number one on here for me.
Yeah, I
at least at the time.
Probably.
At least at the time. I think I watched Dewey Cox like the year later, and I watched Hot Rod a couple years after that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a hard year. These are some amazing comedies that came out.
I know, dude. It's so good. I think for the year, Super Bad was when it came out on DVD is when I watched it, and it was
it was perfect for us in our period of life too. We were high
Yeah.
school kids, you know, getting closer. We weren't exactly their age yet, but we were right about to be there. So it was like, you know, it really hit home. The Simpsons movie and Aqua Teen Hunger Force : movie film for theaters were both released this year, so just had some things making the jump over to the big screen. The Simpsons movie is getting a sequel finally.
Oh yeah, we talked about that in another episode, but that would be cool if that's how they ended it.
Yeah, for sure. Another one I'll point out that was really big to me at the time, and it's pretty not. I don't think people know about this one. Is Wrist Cutters: A Love Story. It's such a good movie. It stars the kid from Almost Famous, Patrick Fugit. He kills himself. He slits his wrist. And then hell, or wherever he ends up, is just like regular Earth, just slightly worse. Everything in your life is just a little bit worse than it was before. And that's your punishment for killing yourself. It's like, hey, you thought that was bad? All right, here you go. Like he lives in a really shitty apartment and has a shitty roommate. And like, you know, he has a shitty job. And it's like too hot there. But it's mostly just like regular Earth. And he's like, I thought about killing myself again, but I don't want to end up in a slightly worse version of this. So I guess this is it for me.
Yeah.
It's a really cool movie, though. It's got Tom Waits in it. So like that.
Okay,
already
that's cool.
fun. And then the music of it is inspired by and may have been written by, I don't remember for sure, Gogol Bordello.
Oh, that's cool. Moving on to like kids stuff that came out this year. A lot of good ones too. Surf's Up, Meet the Robinsons. I love that movie.
Meet the Robinsons is pretty good.
The Golden Compass, B Movie, and Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Underdog came out as well. And I just thought that was so weird that Jason Lee did both Underdog and Alvin and the Chipmunks in the same year.
Dang, yeah.
That's super strange to be like, we're going to give you
Killing it.
two fucking old cartoons to try your hand at, but more of that skateboarding thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He was a former professional skateboarder, if you didn't know out there, folks. And So, they're capitalizing on that because these kids like this, I guess,
Yeah.
These kids like the newfangled skateboarding stuff, so we'll put him in some movies. Ratatouille is one of my favorite. I think it's probably my favorite Pixar movie.
I think so. It's really good. I like that movie a lot. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out as well.
Actually, I didn't see that for a number of years until, I was so into the Ninja Turtles, just didn't get around to it when it was in theaters. And back then, it was like, I'm not going to buy the DVD,
Yeah.
I remember seeing Surf's Up in theaters. I went with a big group of people, and most of them split off to go see Four Brothers, and I just didn't have any desire to see that. I didn't like Mark Wahlberg. I was like, I really don't want to watch that movie. But my little siblings were going to go watch Surf's Up, and I was like, I'm going to go watch Surf's Up with them. And everyone was like, are you kidding me? Come on, come see the movie with us. What's wrong with you? And I was like, I just don't want to. I'm going to see this. And so then when we left the theaters, all my friends were like, dude, you missed it, man. Four Brothers was so good. And I was like, no, you fucking missed it. Surf's Up was amazing, man. I loved that movie so much.
I still watch that movie. It's so good.
It's so good. It's really good. Well, all right, let's see. The last little piece of movies that I'll jump into are... There weren't a lot of horror movies this year, but there were a lot of thrillers. That was really popular at this point. For horror movies, like outright horror, you had 28 Weeks Later. Pretty decent.
Yeah.
30 Days a Night, I like that movie, where the vampires are in, Alaska. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I do like that movie. Yeah, that was a good one.
I think it's based on a comic book. You got the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween. I don't really love that one. But I watched a couple for the first time. You had Funny Games. I'd always wanted to see that. And then I also watched 1408, which is a John Cusack in a haunted hotel.
How was that? I remember when it came out. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't love it. It's a Stephen King movie, or a Stephen King story that's made into a movie. And the whole time I was watching it, I just thought, why did you do this? You already did The Shining, and that was a million times better than this. I kind of think it's sort of him explaining what was going on in room 237 in The Shining, sort of.
Oh, well, that would make more sense.
But it's not directly that's what's happening. I think he just kind of wanted to write a story from that perspective, but it's just not that interesting to me. But another one that came out that was based on Stephen King stuff was The Mist, and that movie rocks. Have you seen that?
I have. I think I might have watched it around the time when it came out, because I don't really remember it, but I don't know I've seen it before, because I just remember bits and pieces of it.
But I mentioned thrillers. For the year, you have horror adjacent, but not actually horror movies. Like I Am Legend, that was huge.
Yeah.
The Number 23, 2 movies back to back that starred formerly funny guys trying to do something scary. The Number 23 was the Jim Carrey one. Have you ever seen it?
I think that's one I've seen bits and pieces of. I've never watched it,
but I've been wanting to check it out. Also, Disturbia, another former funny guy, Shia LaBeouf, doing a Rear Window remake.
Yep.
I Know Who Killed Me, starring Lindsay Lohan, former funny woman, now in a horror film. That was famously really bad. And then the one that I did see for the first time the other night was Zodiac.
Was that good?
Yeah, I've heard about it my whole life, being so great and stuff, and just never bothered to watch it, and I finally got around to seeing it. I thought it was really good. Robert Downey Jr. is great in it. Oh, and Grindhouse is kind of... I'd say that's more close to horror, but that's the one that was Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez both did a movie and then aired them together at the same time. That was so awesome. Robert Rodriguez did Planet Terror, which is a zombie movie, and then Tarantino did Death Proof, which stars Kurt Russell as a murderous stuntman driver. And I just rewatched that the other day. I had forgotten how many times I'd seen it because I was quoting the entire movie as it was happening, and I was like, "Oh, I remember this way more than I thought."
I remember Death Proof. I don't remember.
Yeah, they also
Planet
showed
Terror,
them both.
though. They
showed them both later by themselves. In the movie, Death Proof's only an hour and a half, but on its own, it's over 2 hours. So there's a lot of extra juice in there.
Okay.
And, same thing. Planet Terror has 10 or 15 minutes cut out of it. And then also, though, in between the movies, they had a bunch of other directors make fake trailers for more Grindhouse pictures. So you had Edgar Wright, who did Hot Fuzz. He did a movie called Don't. And then Rob Zombie did a movie called Werewolf Women of the SS, starring Nicolas Cage. And all these really funny trailers in the middle of it. And such a cool movie. So thought I'd point that one out. Oh, last thing I'll say is 2 Christmas movies. Fred Claus and This Christmas. Fred Claus was better than I thought it would be.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It was a long time ago since I've seen that. But yeah, I've seen it before. One that I wanted to mention before we cut it off of movies is 310 to Yuma. I really like that Western. It's a good one.
Oh, yeah. You had that, and then the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Yeah, I never seen that movie.
I haven't either. I just remember it, possibly just because it has such an absurdly long title. But I know 310 to Yuma, people liked that one a decent amount. I've never seen the original or that one. At this time, they were still making a decent amount of Westerns. That's like so far gone now. No one makes Westerns anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Alrighty, man. There's so many more things. I don't know if I even mentioned Juno. That was a huge deal
Oh yeah,
in 2007. That about wraps up the movie section.
yeah. All right. Well, I think that about wraps up 2007. Almost.
One last thing to do, and that is decide what we bring with us into the future and what, by process of elimination, is no longer a thing, I guess. Just disappears from having ever existed. Oh, fuck. This is a hard one. There's a lot of very formative things for me.
I'm going to go first. I'll say super bad.
Okay.
I'm doing it. I'm saying it.
You know what? I was really debating whether I was going to say that or walk hard. So I guess we'll save both of those. And I'm very pleased with those two things.
Yes, me too.
Well, say hello to partially hydrogenated oils, everybody, because those are making their way back. But you know what? I think those PHOs are super bad. But if you need to work them off, make sure you go for a hard walk, and you'll be all right. Damn it! Now I have to end the show on that shit.
Well, that's it for us here. I wish we were then. The Time Boys are saying sayonara. I know what I'm going to be thinking.
I'm thinking the same thing. We
wish we were then.